birdseed.
Yeah.
Stream ends.
Like, especially, it's not your bird food, you fat fuck! Hi, welcome to Beast Fables.
We are now live.
Oh, I got by my own proposal.
I think we caught that.
Excellent.
Welcome
please
to
take it
Beast
away.
Fables, everybody. A live show where I and some friends play as tiny animals in a massive forest. We're using the Adventures on a Dime 2nd edition system, which you can get for free online, and we are playing in the world of the Bristley Woods, where it's based on a region of Scotland called Loch Lomond and the Trossachs, but the beasts call it Crossing Loch and the Bristley Woods. Welcome! I'm Brian, I use he, him pronouns, and I do all this stuff. I am joined by 3 friends who will introduce themselves. Atlanta, will you take us away?
Hello, everybody. I am Atlanta. I use she, her pronouns. You can find me online at Alpaca Scribbles on Twitter and Instagram. And I will be picking up my little role again as Pipistrel, the bat of a description that I can't think of right now because I'm distracted by pigeons at my window.
Pigeons knocking at your chamber door.
A little bit, and stealing all my birdseed.
If only we had a certain toad knight to chase off the pigeons. Ver, would you say hello?
Hello, everybody. My name is Ver. I use they, them pronouns. I am a comic artist and illustrator. You can find my work at Vervis at Twitter, and Sticks and Sharks at Tumblr. And as I don't know why I said that in such a suspicious way. In any case, as Brian had mentioned, there is a Toad Knight present, and I will be playing him today. Balthazar of Blueberry Pond will be here to stay for a very long time to yell and fight forever.
Huzzah!
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 And whenever Balthazar needs stitching back together, we have a lovely little lizard friend joining us. Eve, do you want to tell us who yous is?
Yes, I'm a lovely little lizard and definitely very friendly and fun to be around. My name is Eve, and those things definitely apply to me. My pronouns are they. And you can find me at Eve D. Wood on Twitter and Instagram. And Thistle is the lizard.
A wonderful boy. / lizard.
My little slimy son. No, he's not slimy.
Slimy?
They're nice and dry.
He's slimy in personality. No, he's not.
No, he's not.
Sorry, my little dry son doesn't sound as good.
Rusty.
I really like it. My little dry son is very fun.
Last session, well, the past few sessions, we've been following the tale of Pipistrel, Balthazar, and Thistle as they pursue their own ends. Pipistrel looking for a new home, Balthazar looking into the mysterious meddling organization known as the Knowers, and Thistle looking to gather old information scattered to the winds on the ashes of the fire of their old home of Hodel. They have made a traveling route across the countryside and made their way to the winter city of Summit, built into an old mine that we can see pictured here, south and east of the Crossing Loch. They arrive now with some traveling companions they met before, of Keir and Moina and their friends, Ollie and Graham and Morag, who, having circumvented some claw-licker bandits on the road, have managed to safely traverse the wilderness to make it to the massive queue of beasts looking to get into Hodel. Does anyone else want to remember anything for us that they think is important, or do you think that summary is decent? Decent. That is, I should stop saying words weirdly.
No, I think you should continue.
Did decide to run away, which I think was a big character moment.
Well, only after assassinating Pipistrel, which was really strange, but I'm sure he had his reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is Pip dead now?
Yeah, I'm playing the ghost of Pipistrel today. I'm just going to flap around everybody's head and
Spoilers.
scream really loud. Yeah, sorry guys, spoilers for the rest of the campaign. I don't exist anymore.
I think, I mean, I feel like maybe because Brian didn't mention it, this might be a done deal, but we met these horrible brigands, including this badger that would eat people, and a cat that would also presumably eat people. And we just kind of ran away from them. But I'm just letting our GM know that I'd like to go back and kick their asses.
Oh, intentions set. Okay. So, you arrive. I'm going to set the scene. As you can see here on the board, we've got a little illustration of what Holdor looks like, done by yours truly. And you see 4 prominent sites, one of them not pictured. The first you see is 3 large marble arches with iron portcullises drawn up. This is where animals and beasts are being checked into the city of Summit. Through contextual information, you can tell that Summit has a maximum population cap of how much food can be stored there and how many animals can stay in to eat that food over winter. And they will only allow a certain amount of permanent residents in the city, and so if you want to enter the city, you have to have a pass, either allowing you to stay for the winter or to come in and leave by a certain time. At these gates, the crest guard, the guards of Summit, check these passes and these letters and let people in, or let people apply on the door, which is why the queue is so long currently. People processing these passes and that sort of information. On the kind of eastern bank, away from the gates, is a large dead tree. Its branches have been woven to hold a large wooden tower where you can see various flighted crest guard moving in and out, observing and carrying messages. Pipistrel, you also notice that noon messengers are flitting in and out, and that the large yellow flag of Crestguard flaps in the breeze, but below it are 2 pennants of the noon messengers and the moon messengers. The moon messengers is currently flying half-mast, which contextually you know means that they're off duty.
Okay. Cool.
Because it's, roughly the middle of the day, I'm going to say, when you arrive. It's maybe like 11, 12. And then to the west, you see a large stone tower, impressively huge, taller, twice as tall almost as the marble gates, which is many beasts tall. And it seems to be constructed partially of Titan make, and then also expanded with newer stonework, and you can tell from the moss and the weathering of the stone what is new and what is old and what is older, if that makes sense. And at the top again, the yellow pennant of Summit flaps in the breeze. And I'll let you decide how you feel about this, but you can see from a stone plinth, dangling, unmoving, on a rope on this stone tower is a fox hung up by its toes.
Oh my god! Like a dead fox?
You would presume.
Oh,
if he's not dead, then I think he's hoping he is dead.
I gotta say, that's pretty fucking grim.
That's like a Pirates Beware kind of.
Yeah.
You enter this port and there's just a fucking dead guy. Woof. I'm drawing him right now. Ugh.
Yeah, that's a yikes from me, Captain. I think Pip would be like, I think it'd be one of the that sort of feeling when you see something and for a second your brain can't quite comprehend what you're looking at because you've never seen anything like it, and then it kind of sinks in what you're looking at and you're like, oh no. I think that's what Pip does. I think she almost stops in place for a second, is just staring at this fox completely aghast, I think.
How?
Pipistrel, I want you to make a cunning check for me, because I think you're the kind of person who'd be really aware of an atmosphere, to judge how other people are reacting to this fox as well.
Okay, is this just a straight roll, or can I tag anything?
You can tag something if you want to.
May I tag my shrewd gaze, please?
Yeah, go ahead. Make a roll with advantage for me.
Thank you very much. Heck
That
yeah.
is a
Yeah.
success. A 9. You notice that a lot of beasts are trying their best not to look at it.
Oh,
It seems like occasionally you see like a glance from a beast in the queue further ahead where they are looking back at it, and sometimes you see or hear farther down the path away from Summit, you hear a gasp as someone crests a hill and realizes what that orange blur is on the horizon. Yeah, but people don't want to acknowledge it, or if they do acknowledge it, they keep their thoughts to themselves.
So is this the kind of thing where, like, we're kind of walking into Summit, and is the vibe kind of... Is it quite a nervous sort of vibe, or...
There's hustle and bustle. It's difficult to pin exactly where the mood is at. It's sort of like, not anxious queuing, but people who have been in a queue for a long time. There isn't a rush, but people want to get into Summit. They have their things to get about.
Interesting, okay.
So, before I gave this opportunity, I think, Balthazar, you're going to say something.
Do I understand correctly that the fox is hanging from that half Titan-made, half creature tower?
Yes. The stone
so it
which
is
could support
very,
its weight.
very far. Yeah, okay, so it's very, very far away.
Yes.
Okay.
That is an astute observation as well. It's up sort of like a outcrop of rock, which is not like sheer, but does take some work to hike up. To get the fox up that slope, and then to the top of the tower, and then to hang it by its toes is a significant amount of effort.
I was gonna say, that would have to be some pretty, like, big or strong beast to be able to lift a fox, because, like, fox are kind of...
They're big.
I was gonna say, they're kind of like badgers. They're in that sort of in-between size, and also, you know, can be dangerous, like, in between beasts and behemoths. Because, like, because they're big and they can be predatory.
I mean, maybe a group of badgers, you know?
Yeah, group of badgers, or other foxes, I guess.
I also wanted to ask, actually, the crest guard. It sounds like they're mostly birds. Are any among them birds of prey, or is it mostly less
There are a
predatory?
mix. There are some smaller birds of prey, for example, sparrowhawks that you spot. There are also smaller birds. There are blackbirds. There are finches. You can tell them out in the sky because they are wearing that bright yellow, which really stands out against the blue.
Yeah, I was just wondering about their their ranks, what kind of birds they have. I think because Balthazar, how long did it take us to travel here with Moina and the rest?
So I'm going to move us back over to our previous map. Is it that one? No. It is this one. So if we come down to the bottom of the map, we can see here there is this sort of like pink X, and then you kind of followed upriver away from the path and then back cutting into Summit. That took you about a day and a half. So it's been 3 days travel from Grinder's Nest to get to Summit, and you broke off from the main road when you escaped from those bandits.
Because I think last time Balthazar was still pretty torn about leaving the bandits where they are, because they're still a problem, and they can still, they can still harry other people just because we got away. Just seems like a fluke, given how many. I imagine Pipistrel would have shared about the crates and chests that they seem to have had in their possession. So I think Balthazar is still kind of quite concerned about all that, and seeing this crest guard little outpost or whatever it is. I think that would draw his attention in particular, because it's like, okay, well, these are the people who are supposed to make sure that this kind of stuff doesn't happen. Not like he's just like, oh, they're not doing their job and we're paying them in taxes. But more so just kind of like, okay, I gotta go there to tell them about the situation if they don't know already, and offer my services as a knight, because I'm Balthazar of Blueberry Pond.
So, to further set the scene, you guys arrive, you see the fox, you see the queue, and at this point, Kira and Moina and their friends kind of generally give you some thanks, like, oh, it was good to travel with you, and we're glad we all got here safely. They sort of, like, shuffle around and organize their packs a little bit and say that they're going to join the queue and make their way into the city. And they sort of pleasantly split off from you guys with like a fond wave and kind of make that way generally to where that is. You guys are not like clandestine or anything, but you're just sort of like to the side of the road right now.
Balthazar will sorry, is it Thistle that got that passage, letter of passage? Okay.
I think Thistle claps their wee claws together and goes, "Alright, well, let's go, right to the front, innit?"
Is
that what the letter allows for? It would be amiss to get on the bad side of all these queuers.
But I'm assuming all these queuers don't have a note from a guild member saying they can go in. I think it's fine. I think we just go right to the front. I think we say, got a little note here, very important. Let right in, do our business.
Who am I to argue if that is the way? Though on our way to these gates, could we walk by that outpost up there? Maybe Pipistrel, you could just. Well, I don't think I can climb up there very fast. But just to let them know about this badger business. And I would like to offer my services to help drive these intruders away.
I can certainly do that. And she would look around maybe for an outpost. I don't know what you would call it. Sort of a guard station.
Well, there's the thing on the dead tree over here.
Oh yeah,
I understand that's where they're all coming in and out.
Yeah. I mean,
It used to be a moon messenger outpost, so
that's gonna be fun.
yeah. Oh, because Balthazar still doesn't know that she ditched the moon messengers, right?
I don't think she's told anybody.
Yeah.
Like her parents know, but
yeah,
the letters from her parents. I think I told Thistle
that you are no longer part of a guild, and it was very ominous.
It was very ominous.
So I think actually spotting the flag of the moon messengers, Balthazar will kind of excitedly point to it and say, "Look, Pipistrel, it seems that same outpost for the crest god is also being used by the moon messengers. Maybe you can check in with your guildmates."
I think if Pip would sort of yeah, I can definitely do that. Why don't I just go and do that right now? And I think she's gonna very awkwardly and sort of hurriedly go to the tower without saying without giving the game away.
Yeah. But as she's kind of waddling away, Balthazar, is just kind of saying convey to them as much information as you can about these interlopers on the road, about the bandits, and let them know that I will gladly offer my sword to the cause.
No problem, will do. I'll be back soon.
Fantastic. Have fun.
Okay,
so,
thank you.
Pipistrel, you sort of litter up to the outpost. I'm going to say that Balthazar and Thistle, you guys make your way to the front of the queue and towards the gates.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, we'll split into two different scenes. So we'll start with Pipistrel. You flap your way up towards the tree, and you're generally observant. You notice that generally there are maybe a few birds circling on slightly warmer updrafts coming up from summit, or from where the queue enters into the mountain. There's sort of this kind of slight bowl that creates an updraft, and they're just circling and watching. and one of them immediately, upon spotting you fly up towards the tower from the queue, starts to peel off and circle back to kind of not intercept but meet you there. You, on your fly up, I want you to just make a cunning roll. This is for spotting. You're nosy. I want to know what sort of features you see.
No problem. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Ooh, an 8.
Very nice.
You notice 2 interesting pieces of information. The base, the roots of the tree, are growing out of. I'm just going to make an X there to kind of show. They are growing out of an old air shaft that leads into the mountain. It's like a small tunnel, and it's mostly obscured, but there is a little wooden door made from bark of the tree that's placed there to kind of disguise it, but you can definitely tell there's a crack in the mountain there, or like a shaft in the mountain that leads into summit there. And then further up, you kind of spot into the tower as you land on the, I would describe it as like a balcony. Or terrace. It's like several floors of wood that are mostly open for kind of landing and meeting on. There's no railings or anything. But you manage to kind of get a glance into a window before this sparrowhawk lands in front of you. And you spot that it's mostly the similar sorts of shapes that offices and messenger huts have. You recognize the layout, even if it is unfamiliar to you, if that makes sense. The sparrowhawk lands with its claws sort of like clacking and gripping into the wood, and it sort of like has its wings out to brace itself, and it very much lands intercepting you on the balcony and the kind of the entrances and the doors of the hut, and it sort of
Bit scary.
kind of gives you a nonchalant glance and says, "Please go back to the queue. This area is off limits unless to guild members. Do you have business with the messengers?" And it sort of like cocks its head, because it is a sparrowhawk. It sort of cocks its head to one side, kind of like not
to stare at
rotating like left, but kind of like peers one eye at you, half open, kind of regarding you but lazily.
Yeah. I think kind of sensing the slight irritation from this bird. I think Pip would just say, "Oh, I'm so sorry to disturb you. I just arrived with my friends who are in the queue. I just thought maybe it would be important to tell you or other people in charge about the bandits that are on the road, on the way to Summit, who are ambushing and taking beasts elsewhere." She kind of like says the last bit, like a little bit like, "Oh, I don't know if I should say
Yeah.
it."
The sparrowhawk kind of considers for a moment, and then sort of lets out like a whistle, which is a whistle. It's kind of not a spoken language. And you notice out of one of the upper windows, kind of a glass shutter on like a sliding window, kind of like, and a little blackbird pokes its head out.
Aww.
And sees the sparrowhawk, and the sparrowhawk gestures with its head, and then there's the window closes again. And after a few moments, you kind of see this little blackbird hop out from the base of the tower, and then sort of like bob over with a kind of half flap, and says, "Yes, boss." And the sparrowhawk says, "Please take a witness statement from this bandits road." And then the sort of hawk just sort of sidesteps both you and the blackbird, and then sort of drops off the ledge, and starts to fly back up on the upbreeze towards where it was circling before with its a few other birds of prey.
Oh, okay.
And the blackbird, kind of seeing this, kind of just like tracks this bird of prey as it flies up, and then sort of kind of looks back to you and goes, "Oh, hi, hello. You have seen bandits on the road? If you want to come with me into the tower, we can take a witness statement and make a log you can show me on the map where they were."
Oh, Yes, of course. I think Pip would have been like watching the birds like progress in the air. Like it's a long time since she's seen a bird of prey that hasn't tried to kill her, so she was like, "Huh, that's a new experience." But she'd follow the blackbird to give her statement.
You waddle in, and the bird hops in, and you come into the office. The lower floor is similar to the balcony, mostly empty. Save for a few places there's a one wall is taken up with just scripts of paper that have been stuck in with nails or with little tacks, and otherwise it's mostly empty. And you see like different birds of all shapes and sizes kind of moving in, landing, moving around. One kind of studies a piece of paper on the board. You follow the blackbird up to a second floor where it's much warmer. Insulated, and there are various kind of like desks and cubbies where like different birds are working, and you recognize instantly the smell of ink and like the kind of stamps and glues they use for packages, but you don't see any package holes. You just see messenger tubes. There's like a big stack of them, clearly empty on one side, or like in a pile somewhere. Sort of like a wine bottle rack, but just full of empty tubes. And there's some that are full, and then you see like a bird kind of slip one into a full one, and maybe there's another bird putting one on their leg before leaving out through a different door and something. Some birds are meeting. And this blackbird kind of takes you up to a second floor where it's mostly more meeting spaces. But in the center of the room, there is a large map similar to the one that you saw at Castle Clare, like too big for you to take. And there's lots of little pins, notes, that sort of thing. The blackbird takes you over and says, could you describe to me the bandits that you saw, and where you saw them, and at what time?
I think Pip, like, caught in just a little bit of nostalgia just for a minute, sort of like shakes her head and is like, yes. And I think she would then proceed to she'd give like her account first about like going off the path and finding the crates, and like taking out her own map and like pointing with a little bat finger, like, you know, that's where the stuff was, and then like this is where we saw the badger, this is where I saw a wildcat. They said something about a frog, but I didn't see the frog, and that they seem to have been not just like stealing stuff, but also like, you know, taking beasts elsewhere kind of thing. And yeah, so yeah.
And the bird kind of nods and says, and who did these bandits harm? Do you have any evidence that there was an attack? What else have you seen?
Oh God, I don't know if we have any evidence that they actually attacked aside from
blood everywhere.
Well, I was gonna say, like, there was blood on the road. I think she probably mentioned that. It's like, well, there was blood on the road that we saw. None of us were harmed, but we do have multiple eyewitness accounts of it, not just mine. My companions, my friends, would also, I'm sure, be able to back up my statements. But I can't give you any other evidence aside from my own anecdotes, really.
And who were these friends? What were their names, descriptions?
I'm traveling with a lizard stitcher from Hodol. Their name is Thistle. They're a sand lizard. And I'm also traveling with my friend Balthazar, a knight of Blueberry Pond.
The kind of the bird is sort of, you can tell that they're sort of like filing all this information away to then go and write a report, and they're just sort of talking to you right now, but clearly remembering it, and they sort of like pause when you say a knight of Blueberry Pond, and they kind of go, I don't know. I don't know any guilds called Blueberry Pond. Could you explain?
Oh, certainly. I think Pip would then, like, to the best of her ability, like, try and explain Blueberry Pond and knights.
Yes.
Which is
so you,
not
you
very
kind of,
well.
you,
She's not a knight, so.
Yes. You round up all that information.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I just feel like if someone's like, "What the heck is a blueberry pond?" It would just sound like a mercenary organization.
Almost, yeah.
Like a mercenary guild of like, oh yeah, they train dudes with swords to protect places.
Actually, yeah, that's a very good point. Pipistrel, I would like you to make a willpower check, because it's social skills, conveying information, or a cunning check if you want, either of those, to see how well you're able to explain what Blueberry Pond are to this clerk.
What can I... Is there anything I can tag? Not really. I'll do a willpower roll. I think that's more kind of story. Yeah. Huzzah!
So a 5. I think you successfully convey that they are a group of monospecies beasts that specifically live in a certain area, but they're not like a mercenary guild. I think maybe the Blackbird sort of starts to go, oh, are they a sub-guild of the Thick Bloods? Oh, no? Oh, well, okay. Oh, I'll make a note of that. And then again, there's sort of like a little kind of cock of the head when you say toad as well, and they go, oh, is that like a frog? Oh, yeah, okay, I'll write that down. And the bird sort of takes all this information. Do you also describe Kier and Moina and the other animals that you've travelled with so far?
I think so. I think she'd probably mention that, like, here is my party, but also here are the other beasts that, like, we've been traveling with, and we met them here, and we're going to take them there, etc.
Okay, and then the bird kind of nods and accepts this, and then says, "Oh, okay, and all right. If you just want to stay here for a moment, you might want to familiarize yourself with the map. That could be useful for you. I'm just going to go make a report of this. I'll be just a minute." And the bird kind of hops away. You're on your own for a minute, and the bird is maybe on like, because it's quite a large room and it's got other animals and beasts in it. I think maybe there's a rat at one of the desks who's sort of like there and cozied up with a blanket and sort of like scribbling in a large ledger, and there's like some birds filing and reporting to it. Maybe like keeping a register of like where the messengers are going, where they've come from, what times they've arrived, that sort of thing. And the bird kind of goes to a nearby desk and starts to write things on bits of paper that are stuck to the wall. You're on your own. What do you do for this sort of like couple moments that you have?
I think she would indeed go and have a look at the map, and like just kind of see. I guess like I kind of refamiliarize herself with like I guess like a modern map, an up-to-date map, because like the one that she copied could have been quite old. So I think she probably like, she'd take a good look at it, see if there's anything interesting that she would need to like mark on her own map. But also like, am I like behind a desk or anything, or am I just kind of like sitting in like a little office, kind of little beast office space?
Think of it like it's an open plan office, and there's a large table in the center that has this map on, and there are little cubbies or desks around the edges of the room. So this allows for beasts of all sizes to be able to move through the space.
Oh, that's cool. So I think kind of it's Pip. So I think, once she's sort of done looking at the map, I think she would just sort of like look around her and like.
You're not quite done with the map yet, so I've moved us over.
Okay.
I want you to make a cunning roll for me to see what you can discern of the different sort of codes, not codes, but like their own filing system of information. This is just like a narrative question. Are these symbols that I may or may not recognize from my time as a moon messenger? So this is why I'm asking you to make a cunning roll, because some of them are and some of them aren't.
Okay. I don't think there's anything I can tag for this. I actually do have a read maps skill.
Okay. I'll let you get advantage on this then. Yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you very much.
So a cunning. That is a 9 and a 1. Whee! So you're never going to take the 9. You notice that Holdall. So first of all, you notice all the things marked on the map here. The map is mostly the same in terms of like geography. You notice that Holdall is crossed off on the map, and that there is a little square marker further up from Holdall, closer towards the river. There is Broken Tusk that marked on the map has got a red little flag in it. and you notice that there are several other red flags marked around the artery bows. There's one at Middle Meadows as well. There is little... So these are pins, if that makes sense. I'm just going to do little dots, but there are pins around Citibank. There are pins on the road. And I'm going to say that you contextualize these as maybe sightings of danger or something like that.
Okay.
Because you see a lot of pins around the high road towards Summit.
Oh, okay. So contextually, yeah, okay. I kind of put
You
two and
mark
two
these
together.
pins as sort of like, these are kind of people have noticed danger and that sort of stuff. There is a white flag over Grinder's Nest. I'm going to redraw that so it's a little bit clearer that it's a clear flag. Sort of like a little white scrap of flag at Grinder's Nest, and a white flag further up the river. There's a white flag in the middle of the southern artery bows. There are a few dots around Wicker as well. You seem to notice that the impression you get is that they seem to be tracking a lot of different kinds of information, and also in general, wherever there's a town or a village or a settlement, there's evidence of trouble.
Yeah, that seems to be a consistency, because, like, I'm not sure, like, from context clues, like, what do the red flags mean? Is, like, because, like, I think it's quite, the impression obviously is Hodel has been, something has happened to Hodel because it's been crossed out. But, like, what is the significance of the red flags versus the white flags? Is it just, like, are these, like, bandit camps or, like, bandit organization points?
So, the white flags, you could guess from context of knowing that Fafnir is at Grinder's Nest, could be Beamoth sightings.
Oh, okay.
And you're not sure what the red flags could be. The only thing that Pipistrel knows so far is that,
There
well,
are
actually,
a few of them.
I'm trying to think. No, as a messenger, you would know. Broken Tusk was the central base of the Tusk Legion.
Oh, okay.
So you could assume that these red flags are somewhat related to the Tusk Legion.
That's very interesting. Yeah, okay. I think she's kind of intrigued by these white flags as well, because I think when the penny drops, like, oh, these must be Tusk Legion if that's Broken Tusk. And, like, the white flags being behemoths and, you know, remembering Fatna near Grinder's Nest, I think she would definitely be intrigued to the one that's, like, to the southeast even, of Grinder's Nest, the one that's, like, you know, not too far away from Summit. Yeah, that one.
Brian, can you just click on those and change the color to white, just so it's kind of easier to parse?
I will do that.
Thank you.
Bam! Whoa! Unbam! Please, God! I will do that.
I mean, it bammed into white for me.
No, but I did a path as well by accident. But yes, I'm white. They are now white flags.
Nice. Oh, okay.
So this is what you see. And I'm going to say that you study the map.
There's a lot of activity somewhere, like, between Wicker and I don't actually know what that mountain is. But there seems to be a lot of bandit stuff to the west of Shrewsbury. That's not good.
We don't know if it's bandit. It could be like clawlicker,
clawlickers, yeah.
Or kind of stuff like like larger predators. I guess could be bandits, but just given what was happening in Holdall,
I guess, like, just there's lots of general badness to the west, and Pip is like,
Let's
it's
go
at this
there.
point the Blackbird returns. You study the map for a minute or two. You kind of take in this information, and then you sort of hear, like, the Blackbird approach again, and then they just say, thank you for your statement. We will look into this when we have the time. Please rejoin the queue, and you may be sectioned for further questioning if relevant. before entry into Holdall. Thank you very much, and have a lovely day. And you kind of feel that the bird is already starting to kind of guide you with a wing out of the office.
I think Pip sort of mutters like, "Oh, thank you," as if she's sort of being like chippied out the door. And I think she kind of, I don't know, sort of, there's something about seeing that map and seeing the amount of like red dots on it that's sort of making her a bit nervous. She can't quite put her little bat finger on why, but either way, she'd like leave and sort of then sort of just sort of like pull herself together, as it were, and fly back to. She'd go and sort of look for Thistle and Balthazar with news.
It is at this time I feel like you spot them at the gates, and it is at this time that we will flip over to Balthazar and Thistle.
I'm so glad that Pipistrel will tell them that I want to do something about these bandits. That thing that she remembered to do. Yes.
In my defense, it didn't look like that Blackbird was going to give me the opportunity. I'm sorry, my memory is terrible.
So, Balthazar and Thistle, Thistle and Balthazar, you are approaching the gates. I'm going to say that you start to walk up the side of the path, and as you start to get closer and closer to the entrance, you start to get more and more like disgruntled side eyes from the beasts in the queue, and you're passing beasts of all shapes and sizes. There are badgers, there are shrews, there are a couple newts wrapped up in big coats. There is a rook with a very long beak that's got several piercings through the top that kind of clatter as it moves around. There's a hedgehog, like a big hedgehog with like a trail of little kits around it. And the kits have like scarves, but the scarves are all knitted and then punctured through different parts of like the hedgehog.
Oh.
And they're all connected by one long piece of string.
Oh, that's adorable.
And they're kind of looking and glancing at you. You do notice a few other beasts occasionally come out of the gates, but more often they're going in rather than going out. You get close to the front, and it is now up to you to describe what you'd like to do. You see the huge gates, and essentially you see queues of beasts. They get checked by some guards at the door, and you notice, actually, before I hand over to you, you notice that they have a pot of hot wax at each gate, and they are sealing the wings of beasts that come into the city. They pour a little bit of the wax on and they stamp it with a seal and a ribbon. And you notice it's in such a way that it's on the flight feathers of birds as they come into the city.
That's okay. I think as they approach, Thistle is getting a little bit nervous. And once they're there, I don't know if Balthazar is like looking at them expectantly or anything. I don't know if am I being given the lead here.
Well, you're holding the letter.
I am holding the letter.
But Balthazar, Balthazar fully expects that the letter's gonna do what it needs to do, and we're gonna get in regardless of who petitions. And also, I mean, Thistle is a well-versed stitcher and a person of great professionalism. Therefore, and great repute. Therefore, they can take care of this. Yeah.
Right. Thistle takes a little deep breath, puffs out their chest, and just marches straight to the nearest guard.
So you march up to the guard. Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're right. Just got a letter here. Pass on through if you don't mind.
The guard kind of half looks at you as you approach. They're kind of just stamping the wing of a jay, and then the jay sort of kind of shifts a little bit uncomfortably, and then sort of hops, kind of picks up their belongings, like they've maybe got like a little satchel of stuff, and then sort of like hops through into the tunnel's head. You you kind of walk in front of someone who was about to go, who's at the front of the queue to kind of talk to this guard, and they go, as if that was going to stop you, but you sort of continue on feeling the pressure of society on your shoulders. Say hello, and the guy goes, "You have to wait your turn."
No, it's a letter from the Burner Guild down in click my fingers at Balthazar. Down in
Yes.
yeah, that's the one. So it just says we can go right on through. Got very important business. I'm on business from Holdall. I'm a stitcher of Holdall. I've got lots of important things I need to do.
So you say the Burners Guild, and then you kind of mention Grinder's Nest, and the guard kind of quirks an eyebrow. I'm going to say they're like a stoat who's wearing a breastplate, and they have like a yellow scarf wrapped around their kind of their neck, and then also like around their neck, and then also another one around their sort of like stomach, like a kind of sash belt. And there's like a short sword and a scabbard tucked into the sash belt, and they sort of waddle over on their back legs and sort of go, "Oh, give it here," and kind of stick pour out for the letter.
Thistle very importantly holds it out.
They kind of take it from you, not forcefully, but also not gingerly, and they sort of break the seal on it and then open it and they kind of scan their eyes over it, and they go, You just back of the queue. This is letter of entrance. You're not important than anyone else. And they kind of fold it up, and as they're giving it back to you, a guard. I'm gonna say maybe like a squirrel from a different gate. You notice that they kind of hear Burners or Grinder's Nest, the Burners, and they sort of excuse themselves from whoever they're letting entrance to say, "Oh, you just wait here. And they sort of like scamper over and say, "Oh, I'll handle this, John, I'll handle this." And then John's like, "Well, no mind with me." And then this squirrel guard looks at the letter, flicks their eyes through it, and then sort of like folds it up, passes it back and says, "Go on in."
Oh, brilliant, thanks. Thistle looks back at Balthazar. Where's Pip? We've got to go inside.
Slowly, so Pip has time to catch up with us. We're going now. Slowly.
We've got a friend, just waiting on our friend. Give us, how long do you think she'll be? 2 minutes? 3 minutes?
Oh, she's very fast. Yes. There were bandits on the road, you see, and
Bandits and everything. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we took it upon ourselves to report this.
I think so. This is the thing. So the squirrel kind of goes, "Yeah, right. Stand inside the gate when you see your friend. Who's it? Pit? What do they look like?"
She's a brown-eared bat.
And then the squirrel turns to the stoat and says, "John, let Bat in." And then the squirrel kind of says, "Right, bandits, nice, thanks." And then turns back to their gate that they're manning, and says, and then you kind of hear a little bit more distant, they're like, "Next." And then John sort of ushers, "Just stand behind me, behind the chair. It's there by the wall. Stay quiet."
Friendly lot, aren't they?
Busy.
Mm.
Yeah, Balthazar says, very well. She won't be long now. And settles in to wait for Pip.
I think maybe like a couple beasts pass you guys by, are like checked into the gate, and the one that you cut in front of kind of gives you a dirty stare as they're getting checked in, and they kind of like wiggle past, like, huh. And then Pip.
Thistle is very,
go ahead,
very
Thistle.
smug about this. Like they've got their little Stitcher crest on their chest. They just kind of like, again, put out their chest and just kind of like tap it idly as this other entrant squeezes past them.
Oh my god, I love Thistle so much.
I think it is at this point, maybe like for a couple beasts kind of come through, that Pip, you do catch up, and as you kind of flap down Pip, you notice that a different blackbird has come down and has started talking to some of the other guards at the gates. And you meet the group, and you're able to enter into Holdall.
Balthazar
So-
would inquire
Oh.
after. Balthazar would inquire after, what she had to report and say, and if the guild is well, and if she needs to do any work, and stuff like that.
I think she would make like little like bat squeak, like oh, all fine. Nothing really to report. They're getting on quite well without me. But I did have a look at their map while I was waiting for my statement to be taken, and I think she would like go through like all the things that she had seen like on the map, like all the like she'd get out her own map and point out like there were like white flags here and red flags here and lots of red dots over this place and stuff like that, and kind of sort of basically like describe the key that she used.
I feel like to be able to do this, once you start getting the map out, John is like, can you guys go into the city or not? Like, we're busy here.
I think Pip would like quite embarrassed, like, oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, of course. And she'd like roll up the map. It's like, I'll tell you guys when we find somewhere to sit.
So you, not to like undo what you've done. So like you're able to like tell them, but you talk to them as you're walking through the tunnel, and it's quite a long tunnel going into somewhere. You're like, oh, there were pins here and here and here, and you kind of explain everything. So you can continue updating people, and then when you're done, you'll enter into Summit proper, so to speak.
I think because this is something that Atlanta the player has remembered, I think Pip would also apologize that she didn't get a chance to say what Balthazar wanted her to say, because she was kind of ushered in and then ushered out quite quickly.
I think Balthazar's a little, like, oh man, but he will say that it will be better form to go and offer his services in person at some point.
Mm-hmm. And I think Pip. I think Pip would also inquire as to, like, you didn't have any trouble getting in, etc. So just while they're walking.
Yeah.
No, of course not. I'll let her go right through, like a breeze.
Oh, well, that's good then. I'm happy you didn't have to wait or go to the back of the queue or anything. That's wonderful.
Well, that first guard seemed kind of suspicious, but the scroll is very accommodating.
I say like a breeze is quite apt, because as you exit the tunnel, you enter into a large, tall shaft that is much larger than the tunnel you've traveled through. It is maybe 2 bears wide and 2 bears tall, and it is thick with the smell of the odor of beasts, of damp, humid, breathy air. There are traders' stalls set up along the walls, hawking all manner of wares, foods, tools, trinkets, everything. There is clamoring. The sound of it all kind of echoes off of the walls, and thin shafts of light come through air shafts that have been dug by the Titans into the ceiling at angles, and occasionally there are braziers and torches that provide a dim, low level of kind of yellowish light, smoking and guttering from above. It is drastically different to any city or space that any of you have been in before. And I think it is at this time that we are going to pick a fortune for your adventures in Summit. So the way that we pick a fortune, it's going to affect how we reflect on the actions that you guys do. There are 3 prompts. You get to pick the one you think is the most exciting, and we're going to use that to flavour the events of your adventures in the city. So we have 3 fortunes. From a distance, they saw us. The needs of the many fell upon our ears. Or we would permit no distractions.
Ooh. I'm taken by second and third ones.
I'm terrified by second. Like, what manner of social upheaval will we be tending to?
I don't know. I like all of them, but something about the first one, from the distance they saw us, like, who is they? And why have they
That
seen
one's
us?
very ominous. Actually, yeah.
I mean, that's just mine though. Like the news of the many fell upon our ears is like quite. I agree with you. That's a scary one. That makes me very nervous.
I changed my mind. I'm down for 1 or 2.
I feel like the they who saw us from a distance could be the magpies.
Yeah.
And I don't mind. I mean, it's intriguing, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah. Like from a distance, they saw us. Like I don't know. There's something in there that's like they have seen us, but we have not seen them. That does make me think of the knowers or something. Like that's interesting. I will throw my hat onto number 1. I think.
Yeah, you've convinced me. I'll go for 1.
Yes, I will go for that one as well.
Okay, I'm going to make a note that you have chosen from a distance. They saw us.
It's very eerie.
You have chosen death.
So, to review as well, the powers that you have from your dispositions as characters. Balthazar, I believe that you are...
Question. I have a question. I'm neutral.
Yes. Balance. Ask a narrator a question. You can ask me an out-of-character question about where the story is heading, and a little bit of context around that. Pipistrelle, I believe you are an auto-other. So yes, you are in virtue. And Thistle, you are a... also self-success. So if you are making a check after you roll, you can choose, actually, I succeed. Okay. It just goes in my favor.
Sick. Yeah, I forgot to use that last time completely.
Well, you've got it now.
I do have it now.
So you are in Summit, and it is raucous around you. You are jostled by beasts walking around you. There's like a couple of small wagons and wheelbarrows of goods that are being pushed through the city that are kind of covered with tarps. There are kind of merchants at different levels, kind of like calling down, calling up, moving. There are animals trading things. Beasts are scurrying around here, there, and everywhere. You notice that there are a few perches that hang from the ceiling, and periodically there might be a yellow-chested crest guard sort of peering down, but otherwise no animals are flying in Summit.
Oh, sorry. Very quick question. Did Pip not get any sort of... I guess they're also her arms, but did she get any sort of warning about flying when she came in?
I was actually going to ask that. Like, did they not see that I was a bat and think, we should probably wax our wings as well?
So, curiously, you did not get sealed at the gate. And John did not mention that.
This is anti-bird propaganda.
Or
I would say, to clarify, maybe you will at some point see, like, there are bats with sealed wings. This is very specifically, Pipistrelle has not had her wings sealed.
Oh, you can commit flying crimes.
I can, oh my god, I can commit aerial crimes. I can't wait.
Finally, your time has come. You only have to fight those other birds that can fly in here, the guards, but apart from that, whew. All yours, baby.
That's really interesting. I wonder why I didn't get, like, whacked, I guess.
I mean, so you know how John was just like, oh, okay, this is just a letter of entry, you can't come in, and then the scroll was like, nah, never mind, come in. I'm guessing grinder guy, Tybalt, or whatever his name was, I'm sorry, I don't remember, has it in with these dudes. Has it in. It has some kind of deal going on, and we are privy to it by virtue of helping him out.
Maybe.
Oh shit! Is Hayden with us?
Yeah, I was just about to ask, where is Hayden? Did he go with the others?
Has he been waxed?
Eaten by birds.
No, that's one problem taken care of anyway.
So this is the. I feel like sorry. He was forgotten by everyone. At some point, you kind of hear a wow, from behind you. And Hayden, and you kind of turn back and you realize that Hayden is with you and you've been staring, maybe Pipistrel, you've got your map open and you kind of step to one side and you're showing all these points, and then Hayden goes, wow, and you kind of lower the map and you realize this small, like, young bat is just, like, peering at some random things on a stall.
He was hiding under my cape all this time.
Yeah.
We all just forgot about him. He was in the baby Bjorn on my back, the one for Thistle.
He was having a nap.
Yeah. Yeah. If he was like hugging himself with his giant like wings, he could have just sort of looked like a weird bag that I'm carrying. And I'd also thought he's a weird bag that I'm carrying until he woke up and was like, oh.
I love the idea that Balthazar was like, I don't know where I got this bag. Anyway.
I will carry it. Oh, it's a child. Oh my goodness.
I will protect this bag with my life. Oh, it's a child.
I am a father now.
But yeah, Hayden's here.
I was gonna say, I'm glad that we finally remembered that Hayden is an NPC character who exists and we should be taking care of.
I mean, even Brian forgot about him, so
we're doing a good job. He's alive. He's here with us. We're doing
exactly
a smashing job.
We fulfilled our quest objective. He got here unharmed, basically.
Yeah. See, let's just drop him off at the checkpoint and
get
done with this.
Yeah, exactly. Collect our experience and the special quest item we get for completing this one.
Yeah.
You look over and he wanders over, and he says, "Look at what I just got!" And he kind of holds up. You're not quite sure what. It's like a clay ball with holes in it.
Oh god, is it an ocarina?
And he sort of goes, I traded this. They said it's a very rare Titan artifact. I traded what I thought was a deal. It was a bangle that my sister gave me for my birthday. And look what it does. And he kind of goes into like one of the holes and kind of like no music comes out. And he goes, neat, right?
Oh my god. He's so sweet.
Balthazar... fuck, I don't even know. Because he saw this fucking bangle that his sister gave him! Balthazar will say, that's amazing! Not really knowing what the thing is supposed to be doing. But it's really cool.
It's like one of those things that, like, it's like a child bringing you something that, like, they've made, or that they're like, oh my god, look at this, I'm so proud of it, and you're like, oh, hey, that's awesome. And then in the back of your head, like, do not tell them it's garbage, do not tell them it's garbage, do not tell them it's garbage.
Internally, like, what is it?
Yeah, what am I looking at?
I mean, I feel like Thistle's here to do that for us, to be like, that's shit, you're shit.
Thistle is excitedly looking around, like, this is the most... Coldall was, like, a busy place as well, so it's exciting to be out of, like, the sticks and back in a really cool city. So they're, like, looking around excitedly, and they just want to go. They're ignoring it. They don't give a shit about Hayden. In their mind, like, they haven't even remembered that Hayden is with them.
Yeah.
They just want to head right to the Stitchers.
I think, Balthazar will sort of look around at everybody and say, well, what business do we tend to first, then? Because actually, let me double check what I was supposed to do here. Anti-magpie laws. Okay, interesting. Balthazar will say, I suppose I would have some, business with the, Crest Guard, but I would be happy to, go about, perhaps replenish some of our, rations and other needs, and see what it is that the rest of you are seeking out here. Thistle, I do believe you had Summit was your destination, yes?
Yeah, I mean, yes, one of them. I've got a lot of stuff to do here, so I don't know what you guys are up to.
Well, I'd be happy to go with you.
Oh, yeah, all right, okay, thank you.
Exciting! I've never been to a Stitcher hall.
Oh,
Is that what they're called?
It's a great place. It's the best guild. It's just, I'm very excited to see how Summit how grand the summit hall is for the Stitches. It's just going to be, it's going to be fantastic.
Very exciting! Pipistrel, will you... And Hayden, will you be joining us?
I think Pip is kind of curiously looking around, for, like, other bats, I think. And she sort of, like, you kind of would get the impression, like, she's listening, but, like, not really taking in anything that anyone is saying right now. She's like, she seems very distracted.
So, the way I'm going to say, Pipistrel, you notice that the way that you notice a back is trading, and they kind of reach out with their arm, and the wax seal is pressed not to stop the movement of the wing, but to weigh it down such that if you were to fly, it would break the seal, or crack it, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay. So
you can
really
spot and notice this. And you notice it's the same with birds. They can still move their wings about, and they have movement, and they could fly if they wanted to, but doing so would shift the flight feathers and slip or break or crack the seal on their wings.
Oh, okay. So I think I'm understanding the actual placement of where these wax seals are now. Okay, that makes sense. I think she's like... I don't know. I think she's weirdly fascinated by this, like, process. And then she's also thinking in the back of her mind, like, why didn't I get one of those? And I think... Did Hayden get one? Have his wings been waxed?
Because Hayden was with you, Hayden was not waxed.
Oh.
I genuinely very much like the idea that everyone thought Hayden was a weird backpack. So
yeah, I love that.
It might have been.
I feel like it's like Hayden was so small and unnoticed that he just slipped by and no one cared.
Oh.
Just like real children.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, he just sort of faded into the background, and now you're also surprised. He's surprised that he's here. You're surprised that he's here. The guards didn't know he was here. Pipistrel not being waxed was intentional, where Hayden was an accident.
That's actually kind of hilarious, because he's like an actual Pipistrel. Like, he's a common Pipistrel bat. So he is a little bit... I think he's like... Well, he's also younger than Pip, so he'll be a little bit smaller, but I think they're almost the same size, but Pip is much more noticeable because she has those gosh dang ears.
Big old ears.
Big old ears. Yeah, I don't think... at the moment, I don't think Pip has any kind of ultimate goal right now. I think she's just like, well, we're here now, I guess. I think she's kind of just happy to sort of go along with the others and see what they want to do.
Yeah.
Like, unless Balthazar has anything in particular that he wants to do, like, right this second.
He will want to go to the Gold Crests to be like, anti-magpie laws. And also I will fight alongside you in a righteous battle. But he's kind of fine, Thistle stuff is also important. So he's going to turn to Thistle and say, well, lead the way, Thistle.
Right you are. They start walking confidently and then stop and they're like, I don't know where I'm going.
Aww.
Thistle, I'd like you to make a cunning roll for me. It's sort of like a street sense vibe, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Well, you'll roll and we'll see if it makes sense.
Okay.
2, complication. So, I feel like you spend the better part of an hour, like, you're walking, you're like, I know where I'm going, and it's the sense of you start looking for directions and signs, and you are starting to sort of, like, explore the city. Okay, so an hour's a bit long, maybe like 15 minutes. You're walking down the main thoroughfare, and then you're sort of looking, and you see, like, a street sign or a tunnel sign pointing to tunnels that rise up or sink down into the earth, into the mountain, kind of quarry side here, and move in different directions. You start to kind of walk along them, and as you get further from the main thoroughfare, the beasts start to thin out a little bit, the streets are a little less busy. You pass various guild houses, you pass under the sign of a doorway leading to the Guild of Thick Bloods. You see a sign for a guild of bakers, you think. Dough fellows. You move on. You notice that many of the guilds and many of the houses, the places in Holdall are basically large doors that lead into smaller caverns or caves. And you notice that Holdall is kind of working on a 2-tier system. There's the main streets above, and there seems to be a set of under-tunnels that are built or have been dug that connect different guild houses together as sort of like a service entrance, if that makes sense, to move stock around and things like that. But that service tunnel is not accessible from the main thoroughfare. You get to a point where you're sort of standing outside a very shut-up-looking guild of letter lenders, and you sort of look around and go, okay, so I thought I knew where I was going, but I don't. And it's at that point that you spot a registry of addresses. Maybe it's because of the Letter Lenders Guild, actually. It's kind of like this few arches and up a balcony that you see. It looks very grand, and there's sort of like various illustrated, illuminated letters carved into the stone around the door. And you notice they have like a registry, and you look down and you see that they've got different guilds that they've worked for, and you're looking through and you realise that there isn't a Stitcher's Hall in Summit.
What?
The closest there is that's registered is a Poultice Pounder's clinic. But they're not Stitches.
What?
Oh no.
That is both Eve and Thistle. Hang on. Is there any is it the Letter Lenders Guild?
Yeah.
Are there any letter lenders about?
The doors are shut, and the lights in the upper window are dull. Like, you can see there's sort of like doors and glass windows and stuff like that, but they're dark inside. There is a note pinned to the door, and it simply says, shut due to... I'm trying to how it be phrased. I think it says, shut due to meddling, will reopen in spring.
Shut due to meddling?
Due to meddling? By whom?
Or, no, closed to the public due to meddling. Consultations reopen in spring.
I think the fact that there's no Stitchers listed does not automatically... Thistle does not automatically think that there is no Stitcher Guild. Surely they just can't see it on the list. There's obviously a Stitchers Guild in Summit. Obviously. But they turn to Pippus around it. I can't actually see the address. Can you have a look?
Of course, I can have a look. I think, sort of with a little furtive look around to make sure they're kind of predominantly alone, she'd sort of like crawl up on the wall and have a closer look at this sort of registry.
While Pipistrel's up there, Thistle's standing with their claws on their hips, kind of looking around like, I feel like it should be somewhere nearby. I've got that sense. I've got that Stitcher sense on me. And I think, I've seen the address for the Poultice Pounders. We could go ask them for directions, probably. They're more or less just talking to themselves rather than Balthazar or Pipistrel.
Balthazar is acknowledging what they're saying as if they were talking to the group. and just kind of nodding, like... I
think Hayden is idly trying to play his pig whistle. And it's going...
Right, Hayden, could you shut up with that for a second?
Oh!
And Hayden goes, yes, boss. And is now just sort of like fiddling with it.
Oh my god!
Thank you very much. It's just trying to have a think, just trying to have a look-see. Pipistrel, you see it?
I think Pip's like been scurrying around like trying to find it, and she sort of she turns like like she turns back to Thistle and is like, I can't see anything up here about stitches. Not a thing. There's a poultice pounder nearby though.
Yeah, I've seen that. I don't. All right, okay. We'll go there.
Thistle, is there just not a guild of stitchers in Summit?
Of course, there's a guild of stitchers in Summit. It's Summit. There's gonna be a stitcher here. We're gonna go. We'll go to the poultice pounders. We'll ask for the stitchers. Come on, let's go. Come on.
You start to stride off, following the directions. You walk maybe for 5 minutes, go through a few tunnels, and you come to the clinic door, and you hear some muttered cursing from inside. There's a very distinctly herbal smell in the air. The door is open, but okay, so you're at the door is open, distinctly herbal smell, and someone is cursing inside, and there are actually several voices inside, and they seem to be having a quiet argument. What do you guys do?
Thistle just chaps on the door, starts opening it.
Thistle is here now.
You poke your head through the open door, and the arguing continues. It's a little bit clearer now. Somewhere inside one of the rooms in this hall, someone is like, why would you, of all things, itching, and you didn't think to... And it kind of gets a bit quieter again, and then sort of like, oh, well, I just thought I'm sick, you're meant to help me. What do you do?
Thistle calls out, announcing themselves. Hiya, hello.
And then the kind of the muttered argument kind of ceases, and they go, you stay here, sit down, do not move from this room. And then there's sort of like a boom, 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 as one door, sort of like, I'm gonna do a little doodle. So like, if this is the door to the hall that you're at, so there's a T for Thistle, sort of like, it kind of comes in, and there's sort of like a hallway of other doors, and there's maybe like a little bowl at the end where there's sort of like some chairs that people can wait in, and there's a little table, if that makes sense, sort of like a doctor's reception room.
Yeah.
And there's a door here, and the door is opened very angrily, and a badger pokes their head out, and they go, what is it? What do you want?
I'm looking for directions. I'm a stitcher. I'm looking for the Stitchers Guild.
And the badger breathes a sigh of relief and then says, come here. And then sees Balthazar, Pipistrelle, and Hayden and kind of points and says, oi, you two, bats, stay outside.
Oh. Pip, like, taken aback, kind of is a little bit intimidated by this badger, so she puts like one little black claw on Hayden's head and sort of like guides him out of the room. she sort of plops outside and waits.
And the badger says, good. And then as you two approach, or Thistle, you approach, the badger steps out the door and then closes it behind them and says, you're a stitcher, yes? You'll know what I need. This nitwit has brought picks into my clinic. And the badger, you notice, is scratching at themselves. And they say, oh, no. I need you to get me some things from the market so I can deal with it. And the worst, this idiot has a fever as well, and it could be infectious, and I don't want it spreading. And it's good that you've shown up. Can you go and get me something fine and combing and a neutral oil?
Thistle is just like waiting for the badger to stop talking. When they're done, they're like, right, no, not really. So I'm looking for the Stitchers Guild. Very important business. If you could just point me in that direction, thanks.
Make a willpower roll. You're kind of like, you're requesting something. And I want to see how this goes.
Can I tag commanding authority?
Okay. Yeah, tag it. Let's see how this goes.
Was it willpower?
Yeah. A
Ooh.
9. So that is a success. You do as well as you can. A the narrative describes how successful you are. The badger sort of draws himself up a little bit and kind of looks down at you and says, I believe that there's a common purpose here. If you can help me deal with these ticks, then I'll take you to your little stitch of friends. But this is a big problem for everyone in this mountain if we don't get it dealt with. So I need a comb and some oil, and I can't get it myself because I'm now covered in the blighters.
I don't really need you to take me there. I just kind of need you to tell me where it is. So...
The badger glares at you.
Thistle looks at Balthazar. Like, okay. Do Balthazar things.
Balthazar takes out his sword. No. Balthazar kind
Roll for initiative.
Balthazar looks at Thistle and says, well, Thistle, as you might remember, a little kindness goes a long way, yes? Tell me, good sir, what is it that you need again? I'll go to the markets and get it for you. Is this something that I can request on account of a poultice pounder, or should I barter for it with my own money?
The badger kind of...
We don't do money, but you know what
curtly does like a quarter turn away from you, Thistle, like a and then looks at you, Balthazar, and says, yes, you could request them from Poticia Farah. Let me... Hold on. And they go back into the room. They open the door, close the door, and they come back with a little bowl of liquid and a little seal, a little silver disc, and they sort of dip it in the liquid and then shake it off and then pass it to you. And they say, that you can use as evidence, you can have it against my name, that's Poticia Farah. And I need a neutral oil, something pressed from seeds, and something fine and comb to get through fur so I can get these ticks out of me and out of this patient.
Well, me and the two bats that you had dismissed, it's because they're furry, because they have fur.
Yes,
sorry.
You two will be fine,
Yes.
seeing as you're quite smooth, but anything fuzzy will
Smooth and dry.
get
Smooth and
nasty.
dry.
Dry boys, yeah.
And the badger kind of
well,
says, and could you hurry? I feel disgusting. Ugh.
What?
She kind of like scratches at herself again.
Well, no ways at all. Oh, herself, sorry. I called her sir. Well, who cares? Sir is respectful. Either way, yeah. Balthazar's like, very well. I suppose while I take Pipistrel and Hayden to take care of this, perhaps you could tell Thistle what they need to know to meet with their friends, and we can all expedite this matter. And he kind of nods at Thistle, and he looks at Thistle and says, "Remember, Thistle, bedside manners." And turns around and is going to let Pipistrel and Hayden kind of know, like, oh, they'll help us if we get this for them. Let's go to markets, yay!
Time to babysit.
Hayden says, I can get more whistles.
I love this bat boy. He's so sweet.
So we could split the party, or we could sort of have everyone go together. What do you guys want to do?
I mean, I think we don't need to watch Balthazar and Pipistrel getting... unless it's, like, I don't know, someone like, oh my god, a fox is attacking the markets. I don't think we really need to see that.
I think Thistle would have come with you guys as well, just as like.
Oh, okay.
Not to do it, but just like, oh, okay, we're all going.
Okay, because I had intended that they can, for them to be able to stay back and talk with this person. But yeah, if they want to come with, that's awesome. Balthazar will be kind of pleasantly surprised. And And yeah, we can just get that.
This is like a grumpy child accompanying their mother to the shops or something.
Just wait until I run into another toad and we start talking for an hour, and you're like, "Oh, I want to go."
You said it would only be 5 minutes.
Mom.
So you're going to the market, but we're not going to be making checks for the market, if that makes sense. The market, that happens. You go to the market, you're able to search for something interesting. We'll get to that. But I'm having checks for sort of passive information that you guys are picking up about Summit as you adventure. So, Pipistrel, you're very nosy and you're very good at spotting things. So the check that I'm going to have you roll is to notice things that people don't want other people to see.
Ooh.
Balthazar, you're very sociable and boisterous. I would like you to make a roll for building rapport. And you guys can tag things for this. You can think about how you want to phrase this.
Cool.
And Thistle, you're quite sulky right now.
You have no skills.
Not quite like that. But I want you to notice new things. Things that you haven't seen before.
Is there a specific ability that we're rolling for this?
So you can describe it however you want, and you can tag whatever you want to try and tag, and I'll tell you the ability that you want to roll for it, if that makes sense.
And it was, sorry, things I didn't know before or hadn't seen before?
Yeah, things you didn't know, things you hadn't seen, new experiences.
Okay.
Things that catch your interest, because on your journey, you're here to find new bits of information to help rebuild the Stitcher library. So, we'll start with Pipistrel. You are looking for things that are hidden.
May I tag my unassuming presence, because I am just a small bat in a cavern full of many, many beasts of all shapes and sizes. No one's going to notice me looking around a bit furtively.
That sounds like it's going to be relying on your senses. That's a cunning roll.
Thanks.
And I will let you have advantage because you're tagging an ability.
Thank you very much, sir.
Ooh, a 2 and a 3, a complication. This is what happens. You are... Hang on, actually, I'm going to have everyone roll, and then I'm going to resolve everything at once. I think that's more interesting for the story. So, Balthazar, you are being boisterous, you're talking to people at the markets, you're making good impressions. This is sort of, kind of like a rumours, kind of like a hearsay, kind of like just a getting vibes. How are you going about that?
Well, because I will want to tag my disarming honesty for this, and he's just like, "Oh, this is the first time I'm in Summit. Oh, what a wonderful place!" And like, I think he's also going, like, he's keeping a closer eye on Hayden now that Hayden's not his backpack.
Backpack.
And
Backpack.
yeah, and I think that like Hayden is also helping with the disarming honesty, because Hayden's like, "Look at this whistle," and Balthazar's like, "My goodness, that's amazing. Where did you find these things?" And kind of like inquiring in this very open and curious manner, and that kind of disarming charm of like a foreigner, if it makes sense, where you're kind of more inclined to explain things and indulge them and their curiosity, because they're just so earnest about it and so excited and wanting to know more. And maybe there's people who are like, "Oh my god, nobody's asked me about these whistles. Finally, someone that I can tell about my amazing whistles." And yeah, he's just kind of really into it.
So I feel like, and you're tagging your disarming honesty. So I feel like this is either a vigor or willpower roll.
I'll take my willpower, because I think it's coming from a place of making connection with others.
Okay, and you can have advantage.
Yeah.
That is a 9. Okay, and then Thistle. You're learning new information. You're spotting new things. How is Thistle feeling? And what might they be doing, even if they don't necessarily think it's a skill check, that might be opening them to new ideas?
So even though they're kind of like, there's another bloody obstacle on the way to getting to these Stitchers, they're still very excited to be in Summit. And I think they're like also just like a naturally curious person about like when it comes to certain things that they're interested in. Not necessarily curious in everything, the same way that Pipistrel and Balthazar might be, but like I'd like to tag learning on the job, or I think learning on the job is the closest one, because it's kind of like I can see so much stuff going on that I don't know about, and I'm like trying to make connections in my mind, like maybe I see like these service tunnels, that must be for like patients or something to quickly get, and they're not in like the main thoroughfare, that kind of stuff. If that makes sense.
So that's going to be a cunning roll for me.
Okay.
Or a vigor, either one.
Is this with advantage or just straight?
Yes.
Which one, sorry?
So you can do either of your choice and you have advantage.
Okay.
Okay, so that is a 6, a success. You do as well as you can. So the experience, we're going to start with the market. I'm going to see what you guys individually have coming out of this. You go to the market and you are one of the many markets in Summit. You get directions from a friendly grass snake who's sort of slithering along in a small passageway, and they go, yes, you want the grain market down to the left passage there. And they kind of slither on with a basket in their mouth. You get to what they call the grain market, and you see that it's various tents that are kind of, well, not tents, more like tarps that are kind of like half pinned to the walls of this kind of tunnel, and then are then held out with sticks, and they create tents, but they're not like full 4 walls, if that makes sense. And there's various tables and rugs out with things on, and bags of various foods. But Balthazar, as you're going through, as you're kind of asking people, might they have something like a comb, and you kind of explain the situation. Often you find that people are saying, I've never seen a frog this far south. They tend to stick to, the marshes to the west and the little wet bits. It's so nice to see one of you in Summit. I hope you have a good time. You can find wells here and here, and they give you little directions to places where you can re-moisten yourself.
Being
moist. And those sorts of bits of information. And you also hang out with Hayden as well. And generally, you get the vibe that people in Summit aren't worried. They're focused on their day-to-day and their lives, and this worry of claw lickers, of bandits, of outside dangers is isolated by this huge wall of stone that they have around them. Pipistrel, you got a complication.
I did.
So you are the only one to really kind of see this. You try and grab someone to point it out, and by the time that you get them to look where you're looking, it's gone. But you notice a little flash of red colour. That you do a double take, and you look, and you recognise one of the boxes of food that you saw at the bandit hideout in the brush.
Wait, what?
You do a double take, you see, you look, you recognise it. It's not just a guild, it's not just a paint or a box from the same set. There is the same scratch, the same chip of paint missing that you found.
The exact
and it's been carried
same
away.
box.
The exact same box. And you turn and you're like, oh, there! And you grab someone and they look, and whoever's carrying that box, and the box itself is gone. But you saw it, you swear you saw it.
Pipistrel, you crazy bitch, it's nothing!
I genuinely I love this interaction of like Pip would like, she'd be like sort of, T-Rexing her way around, and then she sees this, and then she's like, and she like runs over to Balthazar and like, grabs on his tunic, and then by the time she's like turned around to like point where she saw the box, it's already gone. And then she's just like, oh, never mind.
I think, Balthazar will, I think just as part of that complication, like, it's not like Balthazar's like, yes, I do believe you. He'd just be like, certainly it could just be a box of the same guild. The folk here would never collude with bandits. It's the same bandits that are attacking people on the road. That could never happen. He believes too much in innate goodness here
I think
to believe her. I think.
I think she kind of just like looks at him and sort of just nods, but like she's now like looking around everywhere for any more signs of any other boxes or maybe any of the beasts that she may recognize. She is not a happy bat.
And
She's
Thistle,
sorry.
you kind of find your mind is wandering. Balthazar is bargaining for like a thistle, like a head of a thistle, like a dried thistle, which is quite comey, and some dried gooseweed, which that kind of like that weed that sticks to people, because that's quite comey too, and various bits and bobs. And you're like, ugh, I don't want to be shopping. And you're looking around, and your mind is drifting, and you're realizing that the different ways that these tunnels are constructed, and you're kind of tracing the path that you've left, and it feels... Wait, that's quite... Oh. It feels like this design of the tunnels is accidentally similar to some of the wooden models that were in the old guild hall. The old Thistle, or the old Stitcher guild hall, of the ways that fluids and blood move around the body, and the larger arteries and the smaller veins and things like that. And it's interesting to think of all the little... In the same way that the body of every beast has little bits and bobs, organs and things that are around the body, there are little nooks and secrets and bits of information that you hadn't considered before, maybe hidden in Summit. And you think back to the bowl of liquid that Polticier dipped that silver seal in, and you realise you don't really know what that is. And that you might be able to find... If you could bring back collections of these notes, maybe that could be really good for the Stitchers. It might not just be about finding Stitchers, but about maybe being a better Stitcher than anyone ever expected you could be.
I really love the description of a body being comprised of bits and bobs.
My bits and bobs, they're hurting.
Oh no, my bits and bobs are falling out.
They're falling out, no.
Guys, one of my bobs fell off. Get the bit.
Right. So you collect the various things that you need. You bring them back to the clinic, and there is a half-hour wait as you sit in the hall, as you hear general whinging and groaning from behind a closed door. And a rather fluffy mole with like patches of fur that are stuck down with oil and are otherwise combed up is tersely pushed out of the hall with a stern warning from Farah that if you're sick and you're covered in ticks, not to walk around the streets like an idiot. And that this mole should come back for a checkup in a week. And then there's another brief wait. Not this time with moaning, as you can hear the kind of of Farah ridding themselves of ticks. And Farah comes out with this bowl, again, of that same liquid, with lots of little black specks sunk into the bottom. And kind of says, "Oh, right, I feel moderately more alive, and a lot less devoured than I did before. Who are you, and why are you at my clinic? Thank you for the oil and the combs. What can I help you with today?"
What? I've told you, we're looking for the Stitchers Guild. You said you were going to take us there.
Oh, yes, okay. There isn't a Stitchers Guild. There are some Stitchers here. I'm going to warn you. Are you a Stitcher yourself?
As soon as she says that there is no Stitchers Guild here, Thistle's mouth like goes wide open, ready to be like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Like a cartoon. I have a very particular image in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine like a Kermit kind of.
Yeah.
Face.
I am a Stitcher, can you not see? I've got. They start rummaging in their bag. I've got all sorts of crests from the Stitchers back in Holdall. I've been told to. I'm on a. They're getting very flustered. I'm on a mission.
Yeah.
I've got. Will you tell me there's no Stitchers Guild here? I don't.
The badger kind of gets down on one knee, much more to your level, and kind of soothing is like, okay, I see. Yes, that's very impressive, and I'm glad that you've made it here. So there isn't a guild. There was going to be, and I'm going to warn you. I'm going to take you to the house where they're at, but it's currently quarantined. I don't know if you know them. But the Stitcher that came here to set up a clinic was talking with me, and they caught sick, and I've been taking care of them, but they're quite weak right now. I think they'll be very happy to see you, though, if you're a Stitcher. Lachlan, do you know Lachlan?
Do I?
You might remember the name, but you've not met them before.
I know the name, but I've not met them before.
Okay. And so she takes you through some quieter tunnels out of the front of the clinic, and she locks the door behind her to the clinic, and leaves kind of like a back in 5 minutes on lunch kind of like sign on the door. And she takes you up through some quieter tunnels to a much more residential part of Summit. And she kind of shows you, and you come into this small, single room flat, basically. And you see that curled up in sort of like a bed with blankets and stuff is a grass snake. And they have sort of like a hot water bottle on their head. The eyes are closed, and the air in here does not smell fresh. And Farah kind of walks in and kind of sets her things down and says, "Hi, Lachlan, it's me. I've brought some visitors this time. I hope you're feeling a little bit stronger. It's another Stitcher." And Lachlan's eyes kind of half open and sort of look over at you, and then fully open and kind of notice the pendant you wear very proudly. And Lachlan kind of slithers a little bit from underneath the hot water bottle and says, hello. Thistle, what is one of your parents' names?
Bobbins.
Bobbins?
I can't think of anything. That's the first thing I can think of.
I like
Bobbins.
that.
Wait, no, actually, I think that's my friend's D&D character name.
Oh my god.
Nettle.
Nettle.
Oh, that's so cute.
Oh, that's cute. Nettle. Oh, I'm glad you're here. I heard what happened at Holdall, and I was going to come back and help, but the fever. And the snake slithers forward a little bit out of the bed, and Farah kind of ushers them back. Like, no. Nettle? This is Thistle. Thistle, come over here. And the snake is a little bit confused.
What is a high Stitcher sort of title?
MD.
MD. Snake MD.
There's no hierarchy in the Stitchers. The guild is so small that they just they're all about the sharing of information of the body and about knowing more about the beast so that everyone can benefit. So they don't really have a hierarchy.
Okay.
There's there are respect individuals, and Nettle Nettle is a respect individual as one of the founders, but it's not like Nettle is more important than anyone else. That was an important thing that Nettle wanted the guild to be.
Thistle steps forward. No, Stitcher. My name's Thistle. Nettle was. I'm one of Nettle's hatchlings, actually. It's very, very nice to meet you. They do a little bow.
And kind of. Go ahead.
I'm very, very impressed by your desire to open Stitcher's Guild here in Summit. It's very good.
And you kind of awkwardly trail off a little bit, and Lacken kind of lifts up and says, well, you're just the spitting image of them. Thistle, I think I met you when you were much smaller. Yes. So, after the fire, I came here to set up a guild, but I heard about the raid, and, well, I was going to come back, but the last week or two I've just felt so sick. I assume everything's fine then?
Yes. But I've been sent to actually start collecting information, knowledge from all the towns, start building the library back up, and I thought there would be a guild fully set up here. I didn't realise I didn't realise, and they just sort of trail off.
Lacken says, it's all right. There should be, if I were feeling better. It's thanks to my friend Farah here that I've stayed so present, if you could say it that way. There will be, maybe in the spring, once I've found a space. I might even work out of Farah's clinic. Maybe work on some patients together. And Farah's sort of like preparing maybe some tea or some kind of like remedy over on one of the tables, and sort of like, kind of just like makes an agreeing noise. And Lacken kind of looks back at you, Thistle, and there are a lot of things we can learn from these poultice pounders. They know a lot of plants and things of the earth, and they have a lot of solutions, but I think we can help them if we ask the right questions. I have some notes I made a few weeks ago on the table if you want to have a look through them. But it's so good to see another Stitcher. Who have you helped? Tell me of the things you've seen on the road.
Oh yeah, yes. I was involved in a rescue of a small pipistrelle bat. I was involved in we've seen some terrible, huge claw lickers on the road over. There was all sorts of commotion with that. I've helped a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people on my way over here. It was great. I learned a lot.
Oh, that's so interesting. And this bat, and you kind of, I assume you kind of like explain like what happened with Hayden, and how much do you explain with what happened with Hayden?
I broke his arm, and
I fully leave out the part where I was involved in the breaking further of his wing. But I say, like, with the help of my traveling associates, we rescued a bat from a burning building? A burning tree.
Yeah.
And I explain in like technical medical terms, like the exact bone that was broken.
And I feel like you say, it was this part of the wing, and it was, you had to rebind it here and use this kind of wood. And Lacken is kind of nodding along, kind of sleepy, like, yes, very interesting. Have you considered this? And you go, I had not considered that. And then Lacken's like, you wouldn't have. It's not expected you would have known about that. I roomed with a bat for 3 years. You learn these things, and you have like oddly, for all of the change that's happened in the world, there's like a little moment, a little pocket of normality speaking with a fellow Stitcher.
Mm-hmm. And this was having the time of their life right now.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe Balthazar and Pipistrelle and Hayden, you've had some tea made for you by Farah, and she's just kind of like recruited you into like changing bedding and freshening the air in the room. She's like, right, you flap this, and hey, Hayden, you sit there, useless broken wing, and play with your whistle. And you, Pipistrelle, you dust that. It's just sort of like recruiting you into cleaning this flat.
That's really
Balthazar
cute.
super happy to do this. He likes cleaning.
Yeah.
Pip, I think
and
is,
this
I think. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think Pip is sort of like was a little bit like nonplussed to begin with, but she's like, oh, okay, and she's also like, this badger is so much bigger than her. She's like, yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wouldn't dare argue. Like, I'm tired. I don't want to.
Mm-hmm. I think she's got you flapping cloth. I think she actually just has your wings outstretched and just turning in the middle of the room as sort of like a makeshift fan.
Yeah, that stands. I like that. That's really funny.
And Thistle, you are seeing none of this because you're so focused on your conversation with Lacken. And Lacken, I feel like, listens to everything, congratulates you on like the journey you've made so far, and says, "Well, I'm glad to hear that everything's fine at Holdall. If you could, it would be so wonderful if you could take my notes back. I'm not going to be needing them for a while, and you can add them to the library again."
Oh, thank you so much, Sitch. I appreciate that so much. That's exactly what I'll absolutely do that. This is not quite what Thistle had hoped to achieve. This is like a little less than they had hoped to achieve, but they're so pleased to be able to show off to an older Stitcher. That sort of.
You feel like that sort of like when you get like an A+ on an exam, you feel like kind of really self-pleased, but also it's sort of like that external validation right now. It's
like I got an A+ in the exam, and the teacher, as they passed it back to me, said, "Good job."
Yeah. Lacken kind of asks, so where are you planning to go from here? What's your next stop?
My next stop is, I don't have my map open, so I cannot tell you. Thank you. My next stop is Shrewsbury.
Shrewsbury. You
What was
might...
that?
What was that noise?
That was an Atlanta realizing something. So I'm gonna play it off as like it was a pipistrelle suddenly like was definitely not eavesdropping on the conversation and was like Shrewsbury, and she remembers the map from earlier. But sorry, I'm interrupting.
I heard there was another sand lizard in Shrewsbury, a Stitcher. I again was going to send a message, but I've been so sick. I didn't want to spread it. And Farah's like, unlike some. And back to Lacken. I think it would be a good idea for you to go and introduce yourself, maybe share your notes, and it might be good if you wanted to... I'm not sure. Maybe Shrewsbury's a better place to establish a clinic. Summit is very large, and they've already got the poultice pounders here. Maybe there needs to be some support for help outside of the stone walls.
Thistle's eyes widen. Do you mean are you sure our stock clinic? Is that?
Well, I believe there is a sand lizard there, but they might need some help getting going. And you're like a breath of fresh air. I feel you might give them the drive they need to really set things up.
Thank you. I do think I am a bit of a motivational individual. I would be glad to do so as I'm passing through. Absolutely.
Sorry.
And what are your other friends doing here? You've picked up some companions, but I don't recognize them. Are you to be Stitches?
Oh no, Stitches, no, not at all. That's Balthazar. He's got a sword, and that is Pip, and she was a new messenger. They're just. I think Balthazar's got some stuff to do, and then
What?
don't really know. Then we'll get on our way, I guess.
Ah! Pip? What?
You sound, dear frog, like you have the hiccups.
Oh, dear.
I might suggest.
I I am no frog, good sir. I am a toad, a knight of Blueberry Pond. That's why I have a sword, because I'm a knight.
The snake's tongue flicks out. There's a pause, and the Lacan says, "Curious."
Thank
you. And a moon messenger as well. You might be able to carry a message back to. Oh, but you said they weren't. Oh, no matter.
Yeah, she's.
Yes,
she's not,
what?
She's not doing it anymore, are you, Pip?
Huh? Pip?
I think Pip is like, I imagine she was still like mid-flap cleaning at this point, so she like tumbled out of the air and fell on the ground with a small squeak. And like has now got like a bunch of people staring at her, so she's like, excuse me, and she's gonna like scurry out of the room.
As you scurry out of the room, I want you to make a cunning check for me.
May I tag anything?
You are noticing something hidden.
Alright, okay, I will just do a straight roll then.
You're figuring out if the door is a push or pull.
Oh, what a time for a crit success!
Yes, critical success. You, as opposed to a fail, where you slam into the door and Pip dies.
Ah, no!
Like, quick time event failed. As you go to the door, you rush out of the door, kind of your wings still outstretched, and you kind of flap into the main street, and you see a kind of a weird, colourful shape, kind of blur around a corner. It was kind of bird-shaped. It was kind of white and black, and it's gone.
Wait! A white
Magpie!
And that is where we're going to end today's session.
No, the Magpie!
Oh my goodness! What an ending!
Do you think
You
that
believe
someone
it was
just
watching you from the window.
Ah! We're being watched!
I have to channel my inner Greer and actually get it this time.
Oh god.
Target sighted.
Yeah.
Enemy spotted.
Oh, this was cute. New city, new people. Hayden has a whistle.
Hayden has a whistle, and he's just generally...
Hayden is just our child now.
Yeah, Hayden is just a little bat boy. He's just a little baby bat boy.
Hayden has three parents.
I am... Yeah, sometimes the family is a lizard, a toad, and a bat, and their baby bat child. I am really curious about the thing that Pip has shown. Like, I mean, barring the magpie thing, the thing that she noticed earlier with the crate. Because this whole kind of how some, like, in conjunction with what Balthazar noticed, where, like, people aren't really worried about the outside world, about how, like, complacent Summit seems, and kind of insular, and I'm really curious about like any sort of corruption. I mean, fucking we came in sort of by not profiting off of, but taking advantage of such corruption, seeing as we were just kind of let in beyond the queue. And yeah, I'm very curious what's going on in Summit. Is Balthazar gonna have to fight Summit? All of it at once? We'll see.
All of a sudden.
6-hour combat session. Balthazar kills everybody.
It's just
Fitzgerald and
slaughter.
Thistle just kind of like sit there twiddling their thumbs waiting for this to end.
Yeah. It's just one of those, you know, those Dynasty Warrior games where like you have a billion guys running at you and you're just one dude with like a giant spear just destroying all of those. Just that. What a toad. Like, they all just ragdoll away whenever I do my special attacks, and it's just amazing.
They're just, like, clipping through walls, and, like, the market is untouched, but there's bodies everywhere.
Yeah. But then after a moment, they just kind of fade and, you know, despawn to not lag the, to not have all of that stuff rendering and just taking up space.
Yeah.
This was a good, interesting
Mm.
session.
We will have to
This
see
is-
what picks up next week. I'm very excited. I feel like I've been slowly building a lot of different cogs and threads into the story, and now we're really getting into the meat of it. And
Love
yeah,
that meat.
all
Delicious,
of you are
yum, yum.
involved.
Ooh,
Delicious yum yum.
delicious yum
Yum,
yum.
yum,
Love
yum.
me. Love me some
Well,
story.
Until next time, this has been Beast Fables. We will see you next Wednesday, because we're doing Wednesdays now. That's fun. And catch you
Right.
soon.
Bye bye, everybody.
Everybody.
We did it!